Welcome back to Join FDNY Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Andrew Brown. To celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, my co-host, Captain Randy Lee, sat down with firefighter Tony Ying to talk about his journey through the department and his membership at the Phoenix Society. Let's check it out.
So Tony, why don't you tell me where you work and how long you've been on the job?
I work at Engine 273 down at downtown Flushing. Been in a job just over a year.
What made you want to join the FDNY?
That's a good question. Growing up, I really wasn't exposed to it.
Sure.
As Asian American, you don't really see other Asian American firefighters.
Yep.
But I was actually in the Army National Guard, and I had a few colleagues that were firefighters in the city, and also outside the city. So they would exchange all these stories, and it was just interesting to hear their perspective of work. Because to me, it didn't really sound like work. It was just like just them hanging out and a lot of the firehouse culture. So that kind of sparked something in my mind. I was like, oh, let me look into it, check it out.
And now here you are.
Here I am.
Awesome. So you didn't go through like a recruitment event. You just went straight in and signed up for the civil service exam and just went for it.
Yep, that's it. I didn't really know much about the job. And then slowly, there was much more exposure with the job itself. But to be honest, I was really in the dark for a long time.
And was it a difficult transition coming from a military background and then going through the academy, or was it fairly similar?
I say it's fairly similar.
Yeah.
You know, the academy is a paramilitary academy, so really used to that lifestyle, that structure. But at the end of the day, I think it's an advantage, but anyone can do it if you really put your heart to it.
And obviously, I know that you're a member of the Phoenix Society. How were you introduced to them?
Just like everyone else, through
Academy?
Affinity Day.
Oh, yeah, Affinity Day, yeah.
So, yeah, in the academy, and it doesn't really help because like you're in this other world, right? In the academy.
Yeah.
You're doing drills, learning how to be a firefighter, and all of a sudden
Constantly studying, yeah.
Exactly, and then all of a sudden they sit you down in this room like, hey, there's all these great societies that you could join, but they can't really help you out currently in the academy.
Right.
But afterwards, it'll be really helpful for your career.
Sure, right. And that's really good with the affinity groups. Like all of them, they have a way to kind of get you acclimated to the job. They have certain connections, obviously, and just there's a wealth of history in each one of the affinity groups too. So you can always learn from like outside your mentors, right? You have the guys in the Phoenix Society who've been on the job for quite a long time, so they're great mentors as well. And how long have you been a member of the Phoenix Society?
A little less than a year.
Mm-hmm. So what is your background actually?
So my mom is actually Chinese Malaysian.
Okay.
And my dad is from Hong Kong.
Because it's May and it's AAPI month, how does that feel for you to be able to serve your own community, especially during a month like this where they're celebrating Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders?
So that's a really interesting part, and that's one of the reasons why I want to really work in Flushing. It's, in a sense, like I'm helping my people.
Right. Yeah.
I think it really helps when you're able to speak to the population that you're serving to,
Right.
and understand them culturally. That really kind of bridges the gap, and also it just feels good to see families walk by, and they're always waving and peeking into who's inside, and that little kid, he or she can look up and like, oh wow, I could be a firefighter. I never had that experience growing up because it was more homogeneous.
Right. Yeah. It's funny. So I started about 14 years ago, and you can tell that there's been an exponential growth in the Asian population within the fire department, right? And I didn't have that either. So looking around now, I see you, I see other people like that raising through the ranks, and it's great to see. It's definitely a change in time, so to speak, right? So Tony, what's one of the most surprising things you ran into since joining the FDNY?
One of the most surprising things was how much we interact with the community. You know, when we first got on the job, or even like researching about the job, you really think about, oh, you're just gonna be a firefighter for the community. But we're really out there doing EMS runs, building inspections, just interacting with the public. I think it really helps, when you have a familiar face or someone that speaks the language to help whoever's in need.
What's your favorite thing about going to the events that the Phoenix Society holds?
It's really about reconnecting with my culture. Some of these events we've done as a child, and like as you grow up, you kind of really grow out of it.
Yeah.
But for me, the great thing is just reconnecting with some food that you haven't really eaten, and also seeing some other members that you haven't seen in a while that work in different parts of the city.
Yeah.
One of my favorite events, actually, what happened earlier this year was a mixer we had.
Oh, with the Emerald Society. Yeah, that was a great event. Yeah, it's funny because that mixture that we had with the Emerald Society, we had all the wontons and all the stuff that we grew up eating. And I saw you were there. You were serving some of the food. Did you have the same experience I did, where people kind of stopped you on the stuff that we grew up with, and they're like, "What is that?" And that was it was a little eye opening because I kind of thought this was common knowledge, but apparently not.
Yeah, a bunch of those questions, but it's good to just educate in that way.
Yeah.
That's something that we're not used to. We get that bias, and that's how kind of show how diverse we are. Different types of foods, even though we're living right next to each other.
Well, Tony, thank you for being on the show with me, and I will definitely see you out there.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
What a great conversation. It's great to hear about the Phoenix Society and the events they host. In case you missed it, last month I sat down with Fire Cadets Brianna Denny and Malcolm McNeil. They gave us an inside look at the Fire Cadet program, the challenges, the lessons, and the memories that will stay with them as they move forward in their FDNY careers. Let's take a look. What inspired you, Malcolm, to even apply for the Fire Cadet program?
So I went to someone very close to me that was having a probationary firefighter school party. And I saw just a new family that he had. He had about maybe 70 people there, 60 people. The camaraderie, the brotherhood and sisterhood, and just having everyone together in one place laughing, no matter if it's raining, snowing, it was fun. So I found out about the cadet program after I was trying to get into it. So I went on joinfdny.com. The cadet program was there along with a lot of other avenues of the fire department. And I applied, and I'm happy they called, I'll tell you that.
I found out about the program through a friend that knew I had interest in high school, and I wasn't really sure about how people became firefighters in high school. So it went back of my mind, and the cadet program came out, and she forwarded it to me. She was like, "I know you expressed interest in this. You should check it out." And so happily, I went to an informational session, Zoom session, with at the time he was Lieutenant Ryan Brito, but he's a chief now, so Chief Ryan Brito. And ever since then, I kept in contact with him, and once the application came out, he helped me, and here I am today as a fighter.
Ryan is a solid individual, 100%. I work with him on many occasions on multiple programs. So here's a question for you, Malcolm. What part of the program was most challenging for you?
I would say probably the first day. Coming in, I didn't know anyone or anything. Reading the books, everything was new to me. I didn't understand anything. Definitely the military aspect of the job also.
Right, we're very paramilitary.
Yeah, the format, that probably was the biggest thing.
Yeah, because we're trying to keep everyone squared away. So if we are working in the Bronx and we drop you in Queens, same SOP, and we're already squared away.
Yep.
What about you, Brianna?
I would say the most challenging part for me was physically, running, push-ups a little bit, some pull-ups. In the beginning, we were running a lot, and my body just wasn't used to running at all. I was just we did the entrance run when we first got into the program, and I was watching people run, and it was these two kids that were turning the bend near the rock, and I was just I didn't even get to the bend yet. I was oh my God, where are they going? But that was hard, but now I feel way better today after all the repetitions of running and the training that I'm getting there.
Well, perfect practice.
Your body could hold the work that we're doing now.
Yeah.
It's
100%. 100%. When you come in shape, it makes it a little easier. A little an adjustment when you first start, because now you're doing more cardio than you probably have ever done in your life.
Most definitely.
But it definitely is worth it. So now when you guys go through rotations, you rotate through different bureaus and stuff. What aspect of that was eye-opening? What do you think, Denny?
I think that going to each different one, you got an idea about how they serve the fire department. And I feel sometimes those things do get overlooked a little bit because we're there for 15 weeks each one. So that's a long time to be in one place and just be how does this apply to the fire department? But when you actually take the time and actually talk to the people and you figure out how do they serve it, it's just okay, I'm seeing the fire department in a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And one of the places I went to, my first place was the Marine unit. I didn't know the fire department had boats. I was
all right.
You guys have boats? He was yeah, we have boats. I was okay, that's cool. And it was nice to see because it was just this is also a lot of aspect that a lot of other firefighters I feel they don't get to see too, because they obviously probably there's a Marine unit, but how many of them actually probably been on a boat?
It's a small amount unless you're applying for the unit.
Yeah, so I feel that was really cool to see.
That wraps it up for this month's episode of Join FDNY Podcast. Thanks for joining.